Welcome to our lesson about dimension style. In our previous lesson on editing dimensions, we showed you how you can do an on-the-fly override of your document settings. You select them and then right-click on any dimension to access its contextual menu. You can also just drag the dimension right in the drawing area. In this lesson, we'll learn how to set the dimension style that applies to our entire document. Let's go to the Format menu and select Dimension Style. The Dimension Style Manager opens. Currently, we see that the standard dimension style is active. If we right-click on a style, we can set it as the current dimension style. We can also rename it or delete styles, unless they are the current style. On the right, we see a preview of the style. Click this button to set it as the current style. Click here to create a new style, modify the current style, override it, and compare. Let's modify this style. The Modify Dimension Style window opens, and here's the current style's name, Standard. The Preview window appears on the right. We're on the Symbols and Arrows tab. Let's go to the Lines tab. When I opt to suppress extension lines 1 and 2, I get an immediate preview. Let's restore the extension lines. The Modify Dimension Style window gives us many options, most of which you'll be familiar with from a standard text editor. For more information about any of these tabs, you can press F1 at any time. Let's go to the Text tab. Under Text Style, we're able to select from a list of available styles, annotative or standard for me. If we click this button, we launch a text style editor where we can select from a variety of fonts, font styles, size, etc. Let's cancel out of this window. Here we can choose the text color by layer, by block, or just choose any of these colors. Next, we have Fill Color. This refers to the color of the text background. Ours is set to none. Text height, let's change it to 0.2. And Tab to register. We have an immediate preview on the right. Let's restore it to 0.5. And Tab to preview. In the Text Placement section, we can see that our text is centered vertically and horizontally. On the right, we can change the text alignment. Currently, it's set to horizontal. Let's select Aligned with Dimension Line. And we see the change in our preview window. Let's go to the Lines tab now. Here we modify the color of lines, the line type, the line weight, etc. We can also opt to suppress dimension lines. These are the extension lines here, by the way. We can suppress those as well and set their color and line type unique for each line if needed. We can establish the distance for how far the extension lines go beyond the dimension lines in this field. Let's go to Symbols and Arrows. Here we can choose for different arrowheads for the first arrow, the second arrow, as well as the arrowhead for the leader. Center marks. Most linear and aligned dimensions have two dimension line arrows. Center marks, we can show none, a center mark, or a center line. We've got center mark checked. That's the mark at the center of the circle in our preview window. Arc length symbol, we saw that in a previous lesson. It can be displayed before the dimension text, above it, or hidden. Radius and linear jog, this refers to the jogged glyph on the dimension line, and this scales the jog and text height. Let's go to the Fit tab now. Here we decide how to fit our text if there isn't enough room to fit the arrows and measurements within the extension lines. We can place either text or arrows for a best fit, arrows only, text only, both arrows and text, and always keep text between the extension lines. We can also check here to suppress the arrows if they don't fit inside the extension lines. We can set how the text will be placed by default in the dimension, either beside the dimension line, over the dimension line with a leader, and over the dimension line without a leader. Let's leave it beside the dimension line. There's some additional options here for scaling dimension features and fine-tuning. This gives us extra flexibility in case we're having some trouble fitting our dimensions into our layout. Let's go take a look at the Primary Units tab. Here we set the unit format for the dimensions, and we're familiar with these from the Drawing Units dialog window, scientific, decimal, etc. The precision we can set up to 8 decimal points. Here's our preview on the right. Decimal separator. In Europe, A comma is used, in North America, a period. We can enter settings for numerical rounding, prefixes, suffixes, etc. We can also set units for angular dimensions, decimal degrees, degrees, minutes and second, gradins, radians, etc. Their precision, the suppression of extra zeros before and after the decimal. Alternate units. Here we set the specifications for the display of alternate units in the case that you need to display your dimensions in more than one format on your output. Let's disable the display of alternate units by unchecking this box. Tolerances. This is where we establish acceptable deviations from your measurements. Let's click OK and cancel out of the Dimension Style Manager. Let's close. And this concludes our lesson about dimension styles.